What's good, everybody? Back once again, and with week 4 coming up, I already done my picks and who I think gonna win. I'm also just gonna talk about the games that I'm gonna be intrigued in watching for. And I was like, of course, I'm gonna try to watch all the games, gonna try to see all the players, all the everything I can, pretty much of each game. But I was like, maybe you got your particular team, as I do as well, that you sort of watch it on. But also, there's other games, that I like to watch either because I'm like, oh, I like the quarterback, I like the team, the players, or like the way they play, things like that. Maybe we all got that kind of thing. I was like, hey, well, we all, people doing fantasy, gambling, all that other stuff. So you're gonna have more interest in just your particular team. And I was like, got 5 teams, but I was gonna say honorable mentions of things watching for, not necessarily team, is um the rookie quarterback Bryce Young is apparently supposed to be back. So then we're going against the low Vikings. I was like, that still doesn't change my pick. I still think the Panthers will win that game. I was like, I thought Dalton gives him a better chance just because more of a veteran presence the ball around. But I was like, Young does. I was like, he's been having a really good job of. I was like, he hadn't really been able to progress the ball down the field, but he's been doing a pretty good job of basically not creating too many turnovers. Anthony Richardson is also supposed to be back, and every time before he gets hurt, he's playing a pretty good game. So hopefully he doesn't get hurt in this situation as well too, and seeing how he does well coming back off the concussion. I mean, yeah, in this one. Also, C.J. Stroud. Also to see if he could keep on continuing his momentum after he beat the Jaguars and had the first game of he been playing well, but I was like the offensive line held up to give him a chance to win. So just seeing if him and the team can just keep on progressing. Another thing. And also my other honorable mention. I was like one. I was like another one. If the Chargers are going to charge this week because they have a good job of doing that, and they play the Raiders, who also does their own thing. Who makes a mistake, pretty much. And my other last honorable mention, my boy Joshua Dobbs, because I was like, that's who I'm sort of silently rooting for this year. He's playing against the 49ers, which is going to be a hard team to play against anyway. But can he continue to play as good as he's been sort of playing this season and keeping that going and keeping that momentum up? And I was like, seeing how he does, or even if how he does this week, but in general, I was like, I'm gonna break out something of a video or something like that. My thoughts of with him this season. But anyway, I'll be watching him. Anyway, to the 5 team, and I was like, in the order. I was like, cause I thought about this ahead, a little bit or whatever. But Cowboys and Patriots. Cowboys getting beat by the Joshua Dobbs and the Cardinals. Also playing against, so I was like, them losing Diggs. I was like, defense not looking great. The offense not looking great. Well, guess what? Now you're playing against Belichick, who plays the defense really good and also pretty much try to take away what you do well on as a team. And I was like, so his defense good while also taking away what the offense does. While also, I was like, it just is, the offense is not all there. But will they try to do something creative or something in a way to get Ezekiel Elliott enough of a revenge game? Not saying that he's going to be like Zeke of old or he's going to be like 170 for no, nothing like that. But does Zeke make enough plays, impact the game, against his former team pretty much, while also them figuring out a way to maybe beat the Cowboys or making it a ugly game that, guess what, still will have everybody talking about, whew, the Cowboys barely escaped that victory kind of thing. I was like, so looking at that one. Number 4, that's week 4 if I did the fours. The Chiefs and the Jets. How this going to look before all we're doing is looking at Taylor Swift during the whole game is what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, they've already sort of bled. They had already did some. They already done bled some bad blood for this whole thing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, to the point where I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a long year for the Chiefs. Almost in a way that's like, I sort of want to see them lose because of this. Kind of like that's just going to be funny. Of just like Taylor Swift poisoning the team, and Travis Kelce being a bad influence for Taylor Swift. We'll flip around and we still got time to talk about. So either way, I'm like going to be. I was like, well, at least I was like it's not the summer, but it's cruel winter. Anyway, but also Zach Wilson, the Jets. How bad is it going to get? Do we see Boyle come in? Which I was like, I think we might. I think we might get the backup quarterback coming in order to do something. And by God, if he does just of enough, it's gonna get bad. Like I forgot, but the dude that almost looked like Tim Tebow last year, he got into the game. He can't throw, but he was moving them down the field. And except for a couple things here and there, they had a chance to come back. I forget the whole scenario, but I just know that he got in, and everybody was like, "Thank God." And he's not in the league, but geez, that's how bad it was. And that's how bad it could be. And if Boyle gets in and he's able to do anything, it's a wrap. It's done. So number 3 in this whole thing, is going to be the Ravens and the Browns. Basically, the top-notch defense of the Browns versus what Lamar Jackson can do, and basically his only. Well, he got. I was like, see the thing. I was like, I was like, Justin Hill is hurt. J.K. Dobbins out for the season. He doesn't have. He doesn't have Stanley. I think he doesn't have another guard. The Ravens got a whole bunch of injuries. They got a whole bunch of injuries, especially on the defensive side. So on offense, they don't have Beckham and they won't have Bateman. They'll only have Aguilar, Flowers, and Duvernay. I think that's 3 good. I think those 3 are decent to good enough to have enough of a game to where Lamar Jackson is able to play. Well, they still got Mark Andrews and still got Likely, so they should be able to still make up something where to make the pass scheme and he can run the ball, and he's gonna have to run because Garrett's gonna be all around. So he's gonna do that. But they always play the Ravens, no matter what the defense looked like, no matter what. I was like, Lamar always sort of get through Cleveland, and basically make miracles out of nothing. So, but on the other hand, Deshaun Watson, who I was like, I think he'll play. I was like, he had the injury, whatever, but I think he'll play. Going against the Ravens defense, so it's like a struggling offense. Even though Deshaun did a little bit better last week, it was a struggling offense versus a defense that the top corners out. I was like, they got 2 linebackers out. They got a bunch of injuries, but it's still the Ravens. So therefore, Clowney gonna have to step up and stuff, and Queen and Roland Smith gonna have to step up. But they're still the Ravens. So that's why I think that's the matchup where it's like if Lamar and the offense can just score enough. Not saying that they got to be that passing attack we've been waiting for, but they could just score enough. They got the best kicker ever. So, I was like, that's already an advantage for them. That I think that the Ravens defense can hold up better against Deshaun and his side than the other way around. So I was like, that's where I'm seeing the matchup. It's like the top ends of the pieces of the defense of the Browns and the Ravens offense versus the Ravens defense, but the Browns offense. And I was like, this is the weak link over here, and whoever is not the weakest, yes, I did that. I made that up. But you get what I'm saying, though. So therefore, number 2, just for hits and giggles of it could be funny or very sad, I guess, depending on whatever your form of comedy, the Broncos versus the Bears. 0-3, but unlike the Vikings and Panthers 0-3, where they're just like, oh, they're a bad team, or they're young, or they're not playing well. This is real like, oh my God, how bad can it get? And oh my God, is this the worst that it can get? It's really both at the peak of both of those things right now, where both of them can become really sad, except for the Bears. Sadness is still optimism of the future, where the Broncos sadness is really, that's it. We don't know what to do. we have two people of the Peyton, the coach, and Wilson, the quarterback, locked in, and y'all just hope that those two Hall of Fame dudes can just come together and turn it around. Whereas the Bears, it's like I said, like you either like, well, the coach is going to be done at this end of the season. The quarterback might go, but we can start over, and we got picks. We got a young team. There's something there that's going to be like sad, but hey, we're just going to play spoiler the rest of the season and worry about like the draft and free agency. Where the Broncos, they don't have none of that. There's none of that there. And that's why I'm over here hoping that the Bears win, because, woo, I was like, the Broncos win, they're kind of like, you beat the Bears, of course. But they lose. It's like, whoa, you lost to the Bears? That's crazy. But number one, my Dolphins versus them Bills. I think this is like the first actually good test of the Dolphins. I was like, we have been crazy the last few weeks, and yes, we routed the Broncos and whatnot. But this is actually a defense that's actually worth playing. Like a division team, a team that you play against a lot, that knows you pretty well, that played you tightly last year. Like Waddle's coming back. I was like, Allen has been able to get it going. The defense is playing a lot better. So, like I said, it's the defense going against the offense, but also our defense versus their offense, and I feel like it's going to be a good game around. I was like, this to me is going to be like a high scoring but close game. Like 35-30 or whatever, something like that. Is crazy, where it's like it's not crazy high numbers, but it is also high numbers compared to because at some point the defense can only hold offense so much or whatever. But I think this is pretty much going to be, because the matchups all around. White going to be on Hill. I was like, Howard's going to be on Diggs. I was like, our offensive line versus their defensive line, our defensive line versus their offensive line. Who's going to be able to run the ball? Because I don't care what you say. I was like, yes, Mostert and the chain had that, the offense going crazy. But at the same time, I'm like, it was the Broncos. We was already round. To me, I'm like, that's not an indictment. I was like, that's not necessarily, it's encouraging, but it's not something that I'm like going to take to the bank on our running game in that situation. So it's really going to be cool to see, because I think that they're going to try to stop the pass, so we're going to have more chances to run. And to me, I was like, that's going to see if we can actually run the ball when you're not throwing the ball all over the place. Because we was over here throwing the ball all across the lot. Hill can't be contained, so therefore it frees up the running game. The running game should be good. But let's see if they to me, I would stop the pass if I'm the Bills. I would stop their pass, to be honest. And to be honest, we should stop their pass, because for both teams, that's really what it is. So it's basically whoever could get the running game going. To me, it's sort of the winner of this. So therefore, I think whoever doesn't cause any turnovers, which we might get that on Allen, and and also who can run the ball, I feel like we'll have the advantage in the game. Not saying who's going to win, because I feel like we all both got threats on both sides of and I was like, a lot of the game last year were either back and forth, high pace when we in Miami, or it was a little bit of a slow build, in Buffalo and whatnot. So I was like, but of course, not gonna be my top game. Anyway, I was like, that's what I'm looking for in my game that I picked, and I'm gonna cover my honorable mentions. If you got anything that you're looking for, any team that you thinking of that I was like, I should be on the lookout for, let me know. You like this video? I appreciate it. Thanks. If not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, hey, I'm out.